So there are 3 things that I see super successful businesses having as patterns, reoccurring patterns in their business. I'm going to share these 3 things so that you can take these tips and apply them to your business as well. When we first started this YouTube channel, I really just dove right into education, but I haven't shared a lot fully about what our life looks like. Our life looks like we are traditional wedding photographers. Now we're doing some family stuff, but also we started an education business, and that is the way that we scaled. That's how we have a team. That's how we support our family and have this whole slew of people that we contract out to help us with our business. Our business is a lot bigger than it used to be. But what I have found is that even if you're a photographer, or if you're a real estate agent, or if you own an online shop, everyone that is super successful and hits this next level of growth, they have these 3 things in common. But before I dive into those, I had to explain to you, I'm talking about a part of my business that I've never talked about before. And it's a part of my business that you don't really hear about. You hear about what we offer, that side of our business. You guys are a part of that side of our business. But I've realized that so much about why we've grown and how we've grown is not necessarily because I take pretty pictures. It's because of the way my mind works. And there's so much about the way that my mind works with a business that could help anybody scale and anyone grow. And so I'm going to dive into those 3 things right now. You just need a little bit of background to understand where I'm coming from. All right, so tip number 1, the first pattern that I see happening within my business, friends' businesses, other successful businesses in general, and this applies if you're a photographer, and it also applies if you are in the real estate world, if you are selling online content in a different industry, if you are selling physical products. I have friends across the board with so many different businesses, and the ones that are succeeding, the ones that are scaling and growing, are the ones that have a scalable aspect to their business. Now you may think, Katelyn, if I'm a photographer, that means I have to educate and just sell courses. Not true. There's so many other ways that you can scale. Real estate agents, I just got to keep getting more clients, selling more houses, putting more houses on the market. No, you could grow a team. You could have more people who can expand the amount of income that's coming into your business, and you can take on more work, but your workload doesn't change. The first step when you're first starting to think of how can I scale is to take what you do and create systems and workflows that can be replicated. Replicated? Duplicated. Replicated? Replicated? That's a word.
Yeah, replicated is definitely a word. I think both actually would work in this context.
Okay, replicated and duplicated. What does that mean for you? It just means you need to look at what is taking up all your time. If you're a photographer that says, I just edit like crazy, that's what I spend all my time doing, that's what keeps me from seeing my children, that's what keeps me from hanging out with my friends, it's keeping me from having a life, the first step to scaling your business and being in the same realm of uber successful business owners, entrepreneurs, you've got to hand off these tasks that you don't have to do. Right? I know I talk about that all the time, but it's not just a photography industry thing, it's an anybody thing. Handing off little things, creating systems and workflows that you're like, hey, here's my whole system, now you can do it. Doing that is not going to automatically bring you more income and more clients, right? It's a process. It's a stair step. And you handing over your inbox is not going to immediately get you another $2,000 a month, but what it's going to do, it's going to free up your mind. It's fascinating how limiting what you think in here, what happens in your head. It's so fascinating how limiting that is when it's maxed out. If it is maxed out, all the possibilities of what could happen in your business, you literally cannot access them because you have no space to. So you're right. Handing over little things, scaling your business, creating a workflow, handing those workflows off, that in and of itself is not going to immediately create more cash for you. But what it's going to do, it's going to open up space for you to be able to see the future that's coming towards you and the possibilities. So that actually leads us into the next point. All right, so pattern number 2 that I see in highly successful business owners in our world, and I've seen this play out in our own life, is that no matter what season of business these people are in or that we're in, we always have a purpose for why we're doing what we do. Like, I remember thinking to myself, when I first got started in photography, I remember doing the numbers of like, okay, I got to shoot X number of weddings to make $42,000 a year to be able to graduate college and not have to get a real job in the real world. That was my initial purpose. But I quickly found out that like simply just doing this for money, like for money's sake, is not a vision that's going to fulfill me long term. And I started realizing as we were working with these couples, as I got married myself, there was more of a purpose and a vision behind this KJ bride, these KJ couples. So we started treating our business as if it was a way to serve the world. What do I mean by that? Well, We, instead of just being a normal photographer, right, that just showed up, shot weddings, like delivered a gallery, we intentionally formed relationships with our clients, right? We intentionally were interested in getting to know their families, serving them, making them feel comfortable. We wanted our brides and grooms to feel like they were part of something bigger, to the point where we actually invited all of them to our home for a cookout. And I thought, yeah, maybe 50 people will come. 115 people came to our house, and we hosted a cookout for all of our clients. That's weird, right? That's weird. That's a tribe mentality in business, and that fulfilled our purpose of impacting people's lives and their marriages and being more than just wedding photographers. So when I look at other people with super successful businesses, they're aligned in that way. Not everyone is having 115 clients in their backyard, like eating barbecue and kids jumping in a pool, right? I know that's strange, but try not to think of the practical side of that and think more about, what does that look like for you? How do you take your purpose and your vision and your passion and combine that into one? And that's how you create profit in your life. When those two things can align, that is the sweet spot of being a small business owner. As I've been in a season of transitioning from being a wedding photographer that shoots 24 to 40 weddings a year, went down to like 10, then went down to 4, I have had a little bit of an identity crisis because so much of my purpose in my business has been the relational component with my clients. That was my vision. That was my purpose. But I'm realizing it doesn't matter what business you're in or what season you're in. Everyone can find a purpose and a vision for what they're doing in the season that they're in. There's a lot of people that will say, great, Katelyn, that's great for you. You have the margin financially to figure out the vision, purpose, passion coming into one and have the purpose that leads to profit. You have the space to create that. And like for some people, we just have to make money first in order to survive. And I understand that. I really do. I'm actually coaching someone right now, and we had this conversation last time we met. And we had actually a very in-depth conversation about who she was in her business, who she has been in her business. And it's not aligning, right? Who she's trying to be in her business, literally the way she's like presenting herself online, the way that she's showing up and trying to get people to buy from her, something is not right. And once we spent an hour and a half working through beliefs that she has, working through like who she wants to be, what she wants to cause in her business, what she wants to create, after we got through the vision and we landed on the vision ultimately of why her business exists, only at that point was she ready to talk strategy? Was she ready to talk about scaling and marketing and Facebook ads and next step? Like, it took us getting to a foundational place of her realizing what she's been believing and saying about herself in business. She didn't have a vision or a purpose. She was just trying to make money. And we realized she actually was stunted because of a foundational issue of not knowing who she was. And she literally left my office, left the studio, and texted me and was like, I cannot wait to go home and tell my husband about this. Like, all the dots that were not connecting are finally connecting. That was her aligning with the vision of why she's doing what she's doing. And once you have that piece, the money actually comes more organically and naturally, and people start to be attracted to your brand, because if you are not fully in alignment with what you're created to do, what you're good at, and how to make money and fill a need doing it, the world can tell. So that is actually, it's got to coincide. You can't just start making money and think like, I'm going to do that first. Purpose will come later. You might make some money first, but the longevity won't be there. So the last pattern that I see in businesses that are super successful is that they're talking about their businesses all the time. They're bouncing ideas off of their friends, because people who have successful businesses a lot of times attract friendships and community with other people who get them, who think like them, who are in the same season as them. And so that means when they get together for like dinner date, or maybe for us, when we go on vacation with our best friends, like those conversations just flow out of us. Sometimes I think we should just write off this whole vacation, because the entire trip with these like 2 sets of friends is just like a mastermind conversation. Like, I'm coming back from these trips with huge ideas and new things to try, because I have people to talk to about the business, the way my mind works, the ideas I have, the places I feel stuck. And then it's almost like at a dinner table, we like go around and like, okay, well, this meal, we're going to talk about Katelyn's problems. The next dinner, we're going to talk about my friend Amy and like her transition in her business. And then, so we are sharing our business minds with one another. And that, I can't express to you how valuable that is. And I realize not everyone has that. Not everyone has the ability to talk to someone, because let's say maybe you are running a business and you love it, but the only person in your life that understands your business and you could maybe talk to about business is your spouse, right? And no bad, like that's not a bad thing. It's not sad that you only can talk to your spouse, but if your spouse is not wired like you, if their brain doesn't think like you are limited, you are capped at a certain level of growth because that's not their thing. And that's okay that that's not their thing. You got to have a space or an outlet to be able to hear the way people think at kind of a mastermind level. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because, one, this is seriously a pattern I see happening in really successful people's lives. But also, I want to get a gauge on the community that we have and the businesses that are following us. And I want to hear from you. Do you have those people? Because a lot of times I think people think like everyone's just doing this on their own. And they are, right? I feel lonely sometimes in our business, but I'm realizing the more that I'm involved in conversations with people that think outside of the box, that have big picture dreams, that are go-getters, like that have that mastermind level quality of content stuck between their ears, like the more that I surround myself with people like that, the more that I'm growing, like exponentially. And so I don't know what is to come from this thought, but in my mind, I think in the future, there's a way to create those type of conversations and invite a lot of people into them. So if you've ever thought to yourself, I'm a business owner, I love business, I love thinking about business, but I've got no one to talk to about it. And I want to be able to hear the conversations of people who have gone before me, that have leveled up, who are at scale to the next level. I want to be able to hear those type of conversations. I want to hear from you in the comments. I want to hear about what your reality is in your business. Is it lonely, or have you found that community? That'd be really interesting for me to know. So this is kind of a weird invitation, because normally I'm like, hey, like, check out this link, go watch KGL Access, like check out this blog post. But today I would just like to know, what is the reality when it comes to being a business owner? No matter what business you're in, you could be a photographer. We have a lot of those here. Or it could be that you're a completely different small business owner. Share with me what community looks like. Are you able to have these next level conversations with anybody in your life? Do you depend on some form of that online? Or is that a hole that you're realizing watching this video? I need that. That's the missing link. That's the one pattern I do not have, and I know that I need. So I hope this has been helpful. The reason I'm sharing this is because I don't know if you guys follow Tony Robbins. Crazy, awesome, motivational speaker guy. He's got a better title than what I just said. But basically, he just created a book, and it's sharing health education that billionaires know about, that anyone could know about, but billionaires are just in the worlds where like people are talking about this stuff. So it's accessible to them because their peers are talking about it. And it's fascinating to me, like simple things like using a sauna, for example, right? All the crazy health benefits of infrared sauna. It's like we have an infrared sauna thing down the road from us. You can pay like $20 and go have a session and get those health benefits. But I never learned about the value of an infrared sauna, but in the billionaire sphere, that's like a known practice. So what he's doing, he's taking a book of all of these things that he hears about in the billionaire world, and he's sharing them so more people have access. What I want to do in asking these questions is I'm not a billionaire. I'm not even close to being a billionaire, but what I want to do is take the high level growth mindset of business owners and make it attainable at a more practical level. There are things that business owners that have scaled to the degree that we have and that others have in our life, and we're having conversations that anyone should have access to. But I don't think they do, because a lot of times if you're in your own world and you don't have anyone inviting you into those conversations, then there's no way for you to have access to them. And so this episode serves as the beginning of inviting you into that conversation. And I hope it was helpful. So thanks for tuning in. I know this is a little different than what we normally do on this channel, but I know wholeheartedly it can serve photographers and any other business owner. And so I hope it was helpful. If you are not subscribed, make sure you are so that you can find more content. We come out with new episodes every single week, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.